Have you been to South Dakota? Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Keep commenting on my channel because for every comment, I enter you in a drawing, and when we reach 2,000 subscribers, we'll draw for some cool CM stuff. So I hope that you will continue commenting. Thanks so much for your contributions thus far. You're doing great, and I sure appreciate your support of my small business and my YouTube channel. Today we are getting back to my album, working on our vacation from last year to South Dakota. And we're going to do a virtual crop sketch. And it's from February. It'll be okay though. Let's check out my workspace. We'll get started. All right, here's my workspace for today. And we are going to continue working on my album from South Dakota. This is the right side of the layout that we did, the mosaic of Devil's Tower and the project recipe that we put it on. And we are going to proceed with a virtual crop sketch from February. Y'all, I don't know what happened, but somehow I just got involved, I guess, in a bunch of things and wanting to share other things with you guys. And for some reason, I just sort of dropped the ball on doing my virtual crop sketches. So it's going to take me a little bit to get caught up, but we are going to get all of them in. And we're going to start with number 4. I love this circle and the triangles underneath it, and then the facing page with its array of photos and arrangements. So we are going to, I'm not sure if the arrangement of the photos is going to look exactly like this sketch when we're done, but you can see I have all my little tags for what color is going to go where and different sizes and that kind of thing. So we're going to just play with that just a little bit. I'm watching my screen and it is focusing and blurring, which seems rather strange, and I'm not sure why it's doing that. I think it's doing better. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with me moving my hands. Weird. All right. Well, so let's go through the supplies that I have on hand for this layout. So I have quite an array of paper. This layout is going to take quite a few pieces of paper because of the fact that I'm using different papers for different things. And so bear with me, okay? I have 2 pieces of cardstock. One is charcoal, the other is cool gray. I have 2 pieces of designer paper that come from the Mountains paper pack that we had a while back, Mountain Scenes, this one right here. All right, so that's where these 2 come from. I have 2 pieces of this really pretty kind of marbly green, and this is from Scrapbook Customs or scrapbookcustoms.com. I'll put all the information in the description of the video as always, so you can find it if you want these papers. The backside is this really pretty floral, so we are going to use the backside of those just a little bit. And the star of the show is this paper right here, and this is also by Scrapbook Customs or scrapbookcustoms.com. We are entering South Dakota with this layout, and so I thought this would be appropriate and a great way of kind of representing the area that we're moving into. Of course, we're going to spend most of this vacation right here in this little tiny spot right about here rather than over on this side. We're going to do some magic to include this in our layout, and hopefully it will all work out. You'll have to stay tuned. and watch and see. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to work these pages from the ground up. And I'm going to just place this over here just so that it's kind of out of my way, but I can still refer to it because I'm going to need to. Okay, so these two designer sheets are going to be the frame that goes around the outer edge of our layout. We're going to go ahead and, once again, these come from the Mountain paper pack, Mountain Scenes, that came out last year. I think it was last year. Might have been the year before. And we're just going to make a 1-inch frame. If you've never made a frame for your paper or for your pages, you can refer to the video up here and learn how to do that. Basically, I just stacked my papers so that I can cut 2 at a time, just to save a little bit of time and effort. And we're not going to see this inside edge. This inside edge is just to conserve paper and allow us to be able to use that paper somewhere else in another layout if we want to. So we're just going to remove that frame. Take these 2 papers and we'll set those aside. I don't know if we'll use them again today. Or not, we'll see. But for now, they're just going to sit off to the side. All right, now I'm going to focus on this right-hand side here for just a minute. We are going to go ahead and use some of this green textured paper with the pretty leaves on the back. And we're going to cut this down to 11.5. So we're going to, right now it's a 12-inch, it's a 12 by 12 piece. And we'll just confirm that by measuring it real quick. There's 12. And there's 12. Yeah, okay. So basically, though, we only need it to be 11.5 by 9.25. So we're going to cut it. We're going to cut it to 11.5. So I'm going to measure this and cut a 1/2 inch off of this side. Okay, so we've got our 1/2 inch we'll set aside. Then we're going to turn this, and I need a 2.25 inch piece. Okay, so we'll cut 2.25 from this side. 2.25 on my grid. Okay, so there's 2.25, and we're actually going to flip that over so that we see this side of that. All right, so there's our 2.25 inch piece. And then we should have 9.25 left. Let's just double check here. No, we actually need, that seems so strange. That would be, all right, well, I'm going to leave it this way because I believe I did the math wrong. So we took 2.25 off the side, and this is going to be left green. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck this underneath here. And then we are going to take our cool gray and we are going to punch a border with this. All right, you can use any border you want on this edge. I'm going to use my bamboo punch, and the reason is because most of these photos are going to be outdoors, and I want something to accent the edge right here of the layout, but I don't want something that's going to take up a lot of space. So we're just going to do this kind of small but decorative edge, and I think it'll be just enough for what I'm looking to do. This one is a little bit difficult only because it is so thin. It kind of bends. It bends real easy, so getting it all lined up can sometimes be a little bit of a trick. All right, so that's going to be our border for the edge there, and probably go that way. Okay, so first of all, let's address the circle. All right, so we're going to make the circle out of this pretty floral side, I believe, and then we'll make the center green. Okay, so I'm going to use my Jumbo Circle pattern, and if you don't have one of these, you'll want to get one of these into your kit bag, as it were, right? Because this is a fantastic tool. Now, it says on our sketch that this outer circle should be 11 inches, and this template is almost 11 inches. So we are going to go ahead and just call it 11 inches by using the red blade around the outer edge. It's going to be actually a little bit larger than what we are asked to do in our instructions, but I think it'll be okay anyway. So we're going to use the red blade, and we're going to go around the outer edge. And if you've never used your I've talked to so many people here recently, talked to or read messages from so many people here recently who have never used their custom cutting system. So if you have never used your custom cutting system and you need a quick reminder or a quick tutorial because you found it at a thrift shop and you thrifted it. I have a friend who's an all-star thrifter, and she finds all kinds of CM stuff in thrift stores. I'm not very good at thrifting, or I probably would find stuff too. But I'm not, like I said, not good at it like she is. But if you don't know how to use your CCS system and you have it, then go to the video here and watch my video. It's a little bit of an older video, so I apologize if it is annoying or sounds funny or whatever. Let me know. Give me some feedback on this one, because I might not see it if you give me feedback on the other one. But it's a good way to brush up on how this system works, okay? We're going to use the red blade around the inside track this time. So we went around the outside track. Now we're going around the inside track. Same blade, so our red blade, okay? So we've got our 11-inch circle, and we've got our 8 3/4 inch circle in the center. And we can either flip it like this, or we can flip it like this. So we're going to see how we want to do that when we get that far. But for right now, we've got those pieces to play with, okay? So I'm going to just lift this up, slide those under, and we'll get back to them in a jiffy. All right, so we're done with our Jumbo Circle. We're going to jump over now to this piece right here. And because I am changing my plan and I can't use my leaves and flowers for both of these, we're going to use gray for this other circle, because we used gray for this side. So we're going to use our light gray, which is this piece here. and hope that that's wide enough. That's my dilemma. This piece may not be wide enough because it has to be an 11.5 by 11.5 inch square. So I'm going to get another piece of cool gray so that we can have the right dimensions for our triangles. All right, there we go. Okay, now, if you've never cut a diagonal in a 12 by 12 on our 12-inch trimmer, let me show you how it's done, okay? There is a little bit of a trick to it, and it does require folding. So if you don't like to fold your paper, then I don't have another option for you. I'm sorry. But you're gonna fold your 12 by 12. And really the only place it needs to be folded, creased, is in the center here. You just want to keep these corners as together as possible, okay? And then you're going to take your trimmer. You're going to sneak this underneath the arm, and you're going to line this up with your line this point up with your cutting line, and make this side level. Okay, so you're going to bring this down so that it's straight. Put your point here on the cutting line and cut. All right, and then you have two triangles. Now, we do, in this particular case, want to cut these, or at least cut one of them, so that you have two triangles that are equal this way. So we're going to just take this piece, open it up, and we're going to place it back on our trimmer. Bring the edge of it down to the shoulder here so that it is nice and straight, and put that point on the cutting line again. This point here on the cutting line. Okay. Cut that right down the middle. Now we have two equal triangles for our sides. Okay. Now we are going to do some, I remember how I said we were going to do some magic with this one? Oh, you know what? I just realized I should have cut this down to 11.5 before we folded it. Oh, so what do we do when that happens? Let's pull our arm out here and we'll just measure and make sure. But I believe this is going to be too wide because, yeah, look at that. It's 12 inches. So we need it to be 11.5 inches, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to mark a 1/2 inch. I'm going to place this right here on my trimmer, and I'm going to mark where a 1/2 inch is. Right there, there's a 1/2 inch. Okay, and you can see that this angle is the same as this one. So actually what we could do is just turn it. How are we going to do this? I believe if we just go put this bottom straight edge along our 45-degree angle, put that 1/2 inch mark on our cutting line. All right, it's all lined up, stacked, it's all good. And we're gonna cut off. That's not quite a 1/2 inch that I marked, so that might not be enough. Let's see. We're gonna measure this again. Oh, it is. It's actually it's a little shy of 11.5. So that'll be okay. All right, so those two are good. And we're going to take this piece and we're going to cut this down to 11.5. Okay, so first off, I'm going to trim this right close, like within about a 1/16 of an inch of those black lines. Okay, so we're going to trim that off. And then that's going to be measured at 11 3/4. Almost 11 3/4. Okay, so we need another 1/4 of an inch to make this dimension 11.5. So I'm going to measure that 11.5 up here. All right. Then we're going to turn it this way and do something similar. We're going to line this up so that we have let me line it up down here. For some reason that's not straight. Okay. This cut is not straight. Look at that. I can tell from looking at it, it is not straight. So we're going to fix that. All right. Now, look at all those South Dakota words. Okay, now we're going to make sure that this measures 11.5 on this side. Okay, so now we are pretty squared up, which is good. We're going to cut this in half this way. Okay, so I'm going to fold these two corners together. And that's because I don't want to cut through that state that's printed at the bottom. I only want to cut the angle. Right now I only want to cut the angle going the other direction. Okay, so we're going to line this up like so. Up, down, through. Okay. Now I need this top angle. So we're going to line this up with that corner on the cutting line. Okay, there's our top triangle. I'm going to leave it like that so I can keep track of it. Okay, and this one down here we're going to do just a little bit differently. Okay, so this one we are going to cut. I'm going to use my trimmer. I'm going to line this up so that it is in the center and where I would have cut all the way through, but I'm not going to cut all the way through. I'm going to start from about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to start it from about 1/8 of an inch above where that state outline is, which means I'm going to start cutting from about there. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to have to fiddly cut much of the rest of this, but actually we could cut some of this beginning part, and I'm going to stop it at that 1/4 mark. So I'm going to bring the blade down to that 1/4 mark. I stopped a little bit too far, but that's okay. We'll fix it with our fiddly scissors. So I'm just going to put that away for a minute, and I'm going to pull out my precision point scissors. And I'm going to cut around this. because I just want it to have roughly 1/8 of an inch kind of outline around it. There we go. All right, so that's my lower triangle. All right, so let's get some of this assembled, and then we'll come back and we'll cut mats and various other things to finish this up, okay? So first, let's get our one of our frames here. We're going to get this frame. And we're going to start with this lower triangle. And I'm only going to adhere the lower edge. Okay, so just this lower part. This is the only piece that I'm going to put on right now. And it needs to be roughly 1/4 of an inch from the bottom and centered on either side. And that's going to be good. Okay, then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to take this other big triangle piece from the same paper, and I'm going to go ahead and put this one matching that point. Actually, it's not going to be matching that point. And that's going to be okay, I think. Hang on. We're going to use these as our guide because these are going to fit. Wow, how did I get that so wrong? All right. Tell you what we're going to do. Before we stick that down, let's go ahead and put these side triangles down. All right, so using the same idea, we're going to make that point, these outer points match, and the center points are going to, or that center line right there. Actually, that center line is not. I just really didn't do this quite the way it should have been done, guys. I don't know why this isn't quite working, but it could be because of the way that I cut that one piece. It's all gonna look fine in the end, trust me. But these center pieces are not matching. But that's gonna be okay. I'm just accepting it because it's not gonna show. It's not gonna be a big deal. So wow. Why is that so off? That's gonna bug me though. Not gonna show, but it is gonna bug me. All right. And then this one, we're going to do our best to line up with both of those corners. Even if it overlaps, it'll be okay. I don't know why this one's not lining up well, but it is definitely not lining up well. So hold on. Let's see if we can make it work better going this direction. It's just crooked. Wow. All right. Well, this is going to go over the top. We're going to take our circle. Let's see if we can make it work better this way. Okay, I'm going to leave the... Which way do I like it better? This way? Yeah, I think I like the leaves going around the circle. So I'm going to do my repositionable adhesive all around the outer edge. And we're going to bring this down. Oh, you know what? I've got to cut a certain amount around this as well in order to make that work. You know what I'm going to do? This may not be the best idea, but it's going to work. We were going to cut this. I'm just going to mark where it needs to stop. It needs to stop right there, which is a little more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 5 3/8, halfway between 5 3/8. So we're going to measure that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and roughly 3/8 is right there, which means it's going to be right there. And we're going to cut this circle. Holding my breath. Ready? Okay. Now we're going to pull this circle on top and make it go up to the state. Now that's not going to help us with our inner circle, however. The inner circle is going to be more tricky than that. So we're going to do some more trimming. And I'm going to trim just out there. And then we're just going to make it as easy as we can and just go straight down. Like that. Okay, now let's put our repositionable adhesive around the edge of the circle, and we're going to say a quick little prayer that this is going to work, because I don't know how else to fix this so that my vision can come to life. Do you ever have this issue where you just think, oh, I can do that. That'll be easy. That'll work. There. That fits right down inside, right along there. The only issue I have is right here where those triangles did not quite fit together. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to find me a little strip of this gray, and we're just going to adhere it in there so that we can cover that up. And I'm going to take that adhesive off so that it doesn't keep sticking to my desk. We're going to adhere this down on the back. Same thing for this bit from the circle on the middle. Take that sticky off so that it doesn't keep sticking to my thing. And we're just going to sort of plug the hole like that. I'm going to trim off this end so it doesn't catch on things. And not perfect, but it'll work. And I can cover that with an embellishment, and life will be grand, as they say. All right, now I'm going to stick this part down. So I'm just going to add some repositionable adhesive, and we'll rub it off where it shows so that that stays stuck down. All right, there's our left-hand side of that page. Now let's work on the right-hand side. I'm going to put some adhesive around this long side and the top and the bottom. And we're going to sort of center that from the top to the bottom and put an equal distance on the left, this left-hand border here. Okay, then we're going to take this one. We're going to do something similar. Across the bottom, the short top, the short bottom. Then we're going to put it down this one long side that's going to go on the outside. We're going to line this up, bottom and top, and make it the same distance from the outer edge. It's going to overlap some. That's okay. All right. I'm not sure why it's overlapping when we cut it, it was all right, but that's all right. It's okay. And then we're going to run some repositionable adhesive down the center of our bamboo. And this guy's going to go right up that seam. And we're going to trim it off at the, well, actually it's supposed to go edge to edge, so we'll do edge to edge. I'm going to have to get a little more adhesive for that little wing of the bamboo that is not stuck down and likely could catch on things, but that's all right. It'll be good. Okay. So we got that guy. We're going to stick down this little wing down here. Rub off our adhesive that we don't need. And I'm going to trim this little bit that is sticking up on the top edge. Okay, so now we have our two bases, and we can now look at photos and where we want them to go. So let me grab our pictures. My pictures that are over here. Where are they? Yeah. We may need some Peekaboo Pockets because, as you can guess, my pictures are a little bit, I have a few more than what I have room for, but that's all right. That's why we made Peekaboo Pockets. Okay, so just sticking those away. I'm going to grab my photo trimmer. By the way, did you know we have a new photo trimmer too? We couldn't just redo the 12-inch trimmer. We had to redo this one as well. So we're going to cut this into a 4x4. Actually, we're going to go with let's go with 3 3/4. 3 3/4 and 3 3/4. That's our cute little Maggie Muffin. And she was just about 10 months old-ish. And then we're going to trim this one into a 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. Oop, there we go. 5 3/4. Those we can mat and put on that side. And then the rest of these photos are from our very first glimpses of South Dakota. And this is Spearfish Canyon. If you've ever been into Spearfish Canyon before, it's just gorgeous. And they have a Bridal Veil Falls there. If you're familiar with Utah, then you know that we have a Bridal Veil Falls also. And our Bridal Veil Falls is very, very high on the side of a mountain. Theirs is not as high, but equally as pretty. And so we took some photos of that and some photos of the information that was there about the Bridal Veil Falls. So that's all of this. Put those three together. And then some of this is just the general scenery. Look at this pretty little bridge with the stream underneath it. Some of it was me trying to catch the little stream and not being able to do so. There were all these beautiful trees on the side of the road amidst all of this amazing layers of sedimentary rock. And I think that's called sedimentary rock. Now that I say that, I'm thinking maybe I goofed and I'm not remembering the right term. So don't hold that against me, guys. You know that I do that sometimes. Okay, so let's decide how these are going to go. I think we're going to just use some Peekaboo Pockets for a lot of this because I want to keep it, but I don't want to have to do another layout for it, if that makes sense. Okay, so we are going to have, maybe I'll cut this one down and add it to this page, and then we can use the these two that talk about Bridal Veil Falls, and here is the Bridal Veil Falls that'll go next to it. Or maybe we'll make that go down there and put those up here. And we can put some of this underneath. I really like this, so we could cut this into a 4x4. So they don't really give us room for a 4x6, really, do they? Let's do this. Let's move this guy over. We'll move this guy up, and then we'll put another 4x4 here. That can be our other 4x4 that goes there. And then the rest of these can go, you can cut one into a 4x6. problem is these are all going the opposite direction. So what if we turn this base? It doesn't have to go this way. We could turn this and have it be down here. And then what would that do? That would give us room for 2. That could still be our 4x4 there. We can still do our bridal veil over that, and then we could do, I'm gonna have to pick a favorite. That's hard. I can't pick a favorite. Really? Well, okay, we're gonna make this one the base. We're gonna make or add this one, and which one? Which one? We can really see the layers in the rock in this one, which I love, but I love the color of this one. We can also see the layers in this one. And the foliage is just really pretty. So, should we go with the red? Let's go with the red. And we'll set that one aside. So these two will be in our Peekaboo pocket. So I'm going to need to trim a couple of these. This one's going to be a 4x4. Actually, it's going to be a 3 3/4 because we're going to mat it. Right? So 3 3/4. And I don't want to cut any more of that stream, so we're going to take the quarter off from the top. Okay, so that one's going to go there and be matted. This one's going to be matted, so I need to trim it just a skosh so that it can look nice with a frame around it. I'm going to make this 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. We aren't going to mat this one, or we could mat the base picture. Oh, we don't have a base picture for this. There's our extra. That one will be our extra. All right, good. Okay, and then we'll just trim these up so that they fit with our mats. And I also need to trim this one here. We're just going to make this one a 3x4. So we're going to center the sign because that's the big part. The sign and the mirror are what I want to feature. So I'm going to center that, in half of 3 is 1.5. So the 1.5 line is where the focus goes. Then I'm going to trim that at 3. And it's already 4 inches. So but if we're going to mat it, we probably need it to be just a little bit smaller. So we're going to cut it at 2 3/4. And then we're going to just take 1/8 from that side, flip it around, take another 1/8 from that side. All right. So now I need my, what were we going to mat in? Where I was going to mat using the dark gray, the charcoal. Let's see how many mats we can get out of the charcoal page. I'm going to set that over there for a moment, grab my 12-inch trimmer. I need a 4x4 a 4x6 and a 3x4. So let's just cut. I'm going to cut a 4-inch piece. Also need 3 more 4x6s and another 4x4. So I think I'm going to need another paper. Let's see, we're going to need this to be 6 inches. 6 inches. So that'll be that one and that one. We're going to cut this at 4 inches again. And we're going to cut it in half again. We may have a photo that's not matted, or we may mat it in another color. Let's see here. 4x6, 4x6. Oh no, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So we're going to do a 4-inch for that photo and a 4-inch for this photo. And then this one needs to be 4x3. So we'll just trim down this last 4-inch mat to 3 inches. And then they all match. Love it. Love it when things work out. Okay, and then I need 2 Peekaboo Pockets. So let me grab my Peekaboo box. And I've had to expand to 2 Peekaboo boxes because of all the additional sizes of everything, which is fun. But now I have 2 Peekaboo boxes, and so I had to label them. See how this one says 4x6 and 5x7, and all the smaller sizes are in the other box. Otherwise, I don't have room for them all. There's that. I'm going to have this open from the outside edge. So we're going to, let's see, where is it? There it is. I want this one on top. So place my photos together and then put them in there together so they stay as lined up as possible. Okay, that one's going to be my Peekaboo for down here. And the Peekaboo for up here, we're going to do the flora and fauna underneath. So I really could trim that photo, and I might, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and put it in here. Wow. So I want this one to open up this way. So we're going to load our photos accordingly. Like that. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and mount all these photos to their bases and prepare to mount them on the page. All right. So I'm going to place this one, I think we're going to go with like right about there. And then this one is going to go down here over that oops spot. Wow, is that perfect or what? So nobody has to see my oops. Yay! And then we can still add some journaling and an embellishment or two. Okay. Okay, that one's going to go there. So we're going to start with this one up here in the corner. And let me just take a look at here's our sketch. So they've got actually kind of more of a border at the top, but I just want it to be even. So I'm going to give it 1/4 of an inch, and we're going to see how much that works. So it's going to be a little bit off. I can already tell because of this over here, but let's just see how it looks. If we give it 1/4 of an inch in between everything. And then this will go over the top there, and this will go over the top there. And we're going to add some embellishments. So let's take a look here and see where we are. So I have stickers that go with the mountain scenes papers, which would work. Or I have this sheet of Yellowstone, and there's a waterfall sticker on here that we could use. What should we do? Where should we go? This almost acts like an embellishment down here on this edge, so we probably don't need anything over here. I'm thinking probably just something maybe here and maybe over in this area, probably in here. So let's go with our waterfall sticker, and we're gonna go with we could go with Mountain Bound and kind of pull some of that color from my husband's shirt, and Maggie kind of over into this side. We'll add that little waterfall up there. Kind of bring it down maybe there. Don't need that one. We got this one with the lake, which we could add in right there. The gray works well with that, I feel like. And we need I hate it when I can't decide. Just silly. We'll just add the CU at the top. And maybe something like that. See you at the top. Mountain bound. Waterfalls. And we'll add just a little kind of flower off to the side there. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to stop. Okay, so I do need to add some journaling to this, and I will. And it will likely either be up here in the green or down here in this floral, because that's where it is recommended on the sketch, but that doesn't mean that's where it has to go. So I will probably, I can almost guarantee you that it's going to be right in here, and probably maybe a title down here for that waterfall, just to remind us of where we are. All right, what do we think? Let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate it. And I appreciate all the commenting y'all are doing on the page in general, because it is helping me find new people to subscribe to this fun adventure we're on. So I hope that you'll continue to enjoy the channel. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, and we will move forward to another layout. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day. Let's check out my website.